So 25 starters. You've got Daniel Sear at Melbourne University, Maxi Letton, St Stephen's, Murray Lovas, Box Hill, Flynn Hill of Albury, Caleb Gilbert, Albury, Wes Hay, Melbourne University, Patrick Nichols, Melbourne University, Dylan Littlejohn, Diamond Valley, Jack Mellish, Melbourne University, Alan Vanal, Nunawading, Sengul Hong, Mentone, Josh Askar of Doncaster, Cameron Sace, Mornington, Joji Mori of Richmond, Ben Rouse, Essendon, then a Melbourne Uni trio, David McDonald, Jacob Savarayan, he's one of the early leaders at the front and the outside, Michael Johnson of Richmond, Jordan Mason, Eureka, Blake Barnes, Diamond Valley, Nick Hershen, St Stephen's, Paul Luttrell, Tasmania, Andrew Lego of Mentone, and Clary McIntyre, the late addition to the field there, the Box Hill athlete in this men's 5,000 metre D. And it is Andrew Lego of Mentone, just piloting the field through the first 400 metres in 72 seconds. He threw it a little bit for me the other night at the Milers Club. He wasn't in his traditional Mentone colours, didn't quite pick him up. Tonight back in the yellow with the black sash. Of course, all our athletes here, Victorian Athletics Victoria members tonight to run in these 5,000 metre Victorian Championships. Some interstate visitors, of course, welcome. But it's great to see what a fantastic turnout and an 8-race card for 5,000 metre racing at Box Hill here in partnership with On. So the lead group there includes Daniel Sear of Melbourne University, Nick Hershen, St Stephen's, the 1 second at the moment, Andrew Lego of Mentone, as we mentioned, right up there, Blake Barnes, Diamond Valley, and then Maxi Letton of St Stephen's, and also Murray Lovas of Box Hill in that little lead pack. Started to string out a little bit. Field across about 30 metres down the back straight. It's Joji Mori at the back of that group from Richmond with a headband. There's a little split occurs of our back 7 and our front 18, 2:33. So the pace slightly dropped off through that second 400. We'll get a really good idea as they come through 1 kilometre, which will be as they pass us next time. So 3:12, bang on that pace we talked about, that 16-minute pace. So still those same leaders out the front, Daniel Sear of Melbourne University, St Stephen's pair there of Hershen and also Letton. Join that little group there, Jordan Mason, Eureka athlete. Comes in with one of the faster seed times. Diamond Valley's Blake Barnes tucked in there in 4th at the moment with Lovas on his outside. But it is that tall figure we mentioned of Mason, about 6th at the moment. $16 though now in our lead pack. So 16 in our lead pack, then a back group of 3 and then a group of 6. The back of that lead pack at the moment, Mentone familiar figure there. Sungul Hong. The Doncaster athlete also in Josh Askar at the back of that lead group. Big front group it is. No one's afraid to lead tonight because there is no breeze at all. I talked about a slight headwind down the front straight in our first race, but nothing at all now. Alan Vanal now moving 3 wide, going past Mason. Our Albury athletes, Hill and Gilbert. But a very distinctive move there from Alan Vanal. He moved 3 or 4 wide, gone to the front. Just wants to make sure that pace stays on that sub 16 minute tempo, I'd suggest. Hershen in, Lego. Lovas is the 1/5 there. Melbourne University's Daniel Sears, the tall figure in 4th. Eureka's Maeston in that lead group still. And the split's now quite definitive. We've got 16 and 9. Now there might even be a middle pack forming there. Clary McIntyre at the front of that second pack at the moment. So a lot of checking of the watches as we went through. Alan Vanal's decided to pick that tempo up. Behind him, Hershen, Nick Hershen and Stevens. Lego next to Mentone, Daniel Sear. Murray Lovas, Box Hill. And a little gap opening with our front 3. Eureka's Jordan Maeston next. Caleb Gilbert's the tall figure in that group now, just moving up to 4th as they go through 2 kilometres in 6:26. So just a couple of seconds off in that second kilometre. So Vanal was a smart move to make sure the tempo stayed on. They want to go that sub 16 minutes. They're going to need to maintain that tempo now as they've strung out our field. So a group of 10. Sabri Ryan's the next one in that group at the moment. It's going to do some work to hang on. Lego goes up to Vanal. Hershen still looks good. Maeston. Caleb Gilbert in 4th. Blake Barnes at the back of that group, with Jacob Sabri Ryan doing some really strong work to stay in that front group of 10. Nice little pack forming of 4 behind them, and behind that, it's a big pack of Melbourne Uni runners that are being piloted through by Joji Mori there. So our remaining 4 Melbourne University runners, that's McDonald, Mitchell, Hay and Nichols, now sit about 120 metres off our leader, who's Alan Vanal. Vanal and Lego look like they've just put a little bit of a move here. Hershen and Gilbert trying to match it. Gilbert with a really strong move to make sure he gets himself back up into the top 3 on the track. So Vanal, good junior in his day over the middle distance events, like so many, stepping up to the longer race distances here. Tonight it's 12.5 laps. So on the track now, you got Vanal, Lego, Gilbert, Hershen. Lovas leads the next group that includes Flynn Hill of Albury. Daniel Sear, one of those, the first of the 2 Melbourne University athletes in that group. Sabri Ryan next. Doncaster's Josh Askar now just going past us. Essendon's Ben Rouse looking good. Johnson and Hong go past us next. And then Maury there leads our next group, including that pack of 4 Melbourne University runners. So gaps opening up, we're splintering into small packs right throughout the field. Gilbert's the one that's really moved his way up nicely through this field. Got himself into second now behind Vanal. And they'll come through here in 3 kilometres. So it'll be 5 laps to go. And they've picked the pace up nicely here in that kilometre. That's 9:30. So we've picked up the tempo. That's our quickest kilometre. That's a 3:04. So a 3:04 kilometre there for Alan Vanal. Still our lead 3 in our lead 4 runners, still sub 16 minutes. So movers through here now going past us. Johnson, Hong, McIntyre. Paul Luttrell, Tasmania, the next one on the track there in the purple shorts. Amongst them also Dylan Littlejohn, Diamond Valley, and our pack of 4 Melbourne University runners now 200 metres off our lead. So really well even matched second heat here, this D 5,000 metres. Lovas has made a good little move there up into 5th. Second of the Albury runners there, Flynn Hill, 6th on the course at the moment. And they'll come past the home straight here with the old mile to go. Lego and Hershen working really well in second, third and fourth. Not out of this by any means. Vinal's done a lot of work now. It was the third K, kicked right down. Gilbert looks really comfortable on his shoulder. Hershen, Lego, Lovas, Hill. Letton, I haven't mentioned him for a long time. Letton's been really balanced right through. Blake Barnes, one of the early leaders with Daniel Sear. Jordan Mayston, Sabri Ryan next. Josh Askar of Doncaster. Ben Rouse of Essendon now moving past us. Familiar figure of Michael Johnson moving through well. Hong. Littlejohn. Luttrell. Mornington's Cameron Sace going through us now. And again, 200 metres separates the field with the 4 Melbourne Uni athletes at the back. Checking their watch, happy with those lap splits. They're very even. Expect a nice kick down from that group at the back. But out in front now, it's a 15, or it's probably a 20 metre lead. So 2 of them together, Vinal and Gilbert. Hershen moves his way away from Lego there, just makes a little bit of a move into 3rd. It looks like a grimace for the last couple of kilometres from Vinal, but it's a great tempo indeed. He kicked it down. Facial expression hasn't changed. Behind him, Lego and Hirsch now trying to make a bit of a move. Lovas. Maxi Letton going through now, looks really good. He's been very comfortable right throughout this race. Jordan Mayston goes past us now with 3 laps to go. Josh Askar making a really good move on the course there. Ben Rouse next through of Essendon. Johnson. And Luttrell, the Tasmanian, now going past, and he's got 3 laps to go also. So 12:42. Sub 16 minutes now on for probably our top 4. The top 8 are trying to get something. Going to need to come home in around the 3:05, 3:06 to get those whole top 8 under 16 minutes. The first 2 look comfortable under it, and now there's some movers behind them. Lego's going to quickly be joined by Letton, but out in front with 2 laps to go. Still those 2 runners, Gilbert and Vinal. Hershen gutsing on. Lego's now being joined by Letton. Blake Barnes joins him next. Daniel Sear. Lovas. Flynn Hill from Albury moves through. Jordan Mayston. Jacob Sabri Ryan goes through next. Josh Askar had a really good last kilometre. Littlejohn. Luttrell, the Tasmanian next. Wes Hay, haven't called him for a while. He's moved his way through that group nicely. Maury goes past me. McIntyre. Jack Mellish from Melbourne University. Jack Mitchell from Melbourne University. But with 500 to go now out in front, a definitive move it is. Caleb Gilbert goes past Vinal, puts 15 metres on him. 16 minutes won't be a problem here. How close can he get down to maybe possibly that 15:40 range? So we get the bell. Let's give him some noise for our Albury visitor. Caleb Gilbert moves well. 3rd on the course now, Blake Barnes. How close can he get to Vinal? Our St Stephen's duo next. What a great winter all those St Stephen's runners had. And Letton and Hershen, the 2 flying the colours there. Daniel Sear, Lego did so much work up in the front group. How quick can their last lap be? Can they get close to that 16 minutes? It'll be a test for Flynn Hill, but he looks really good on the course there at the moment in 8th. But 200 metres remaining. No doubt about our leader, Caleb Gilbert. Little cheeky look over his shoulder, but that's a 50-metre gap. The St Stephen's runners are flying home in 4th and 5th. They know the time to beat. They want sub 16 minutes. And Letton's the one. Can we remind our finishers to come out to lane 3? So finishers in lane 3. Caleb Gilbert, move your way outside. You've run this one. You've done a terrific job. He's going to take the D race. It will be in the 1540s. Caleb Gilbert with a really strong run. Made the move well. What a fly home there it is. Blake Barnes flies home sub 16 minutes. Alan Vernal did all the work in the middle. Maxi Letton and Nick Hershen from St Stephen's. We get 5 home sub 16 minutes. It'll be just outside for Daniel Sear, but he'll be happy with that. 16:10 down to 16:03. Andrew Lego did so much work early in the middle phases of that race. He's next through from Mentone. Murray Lovas next. Jordan Mason with a strong run from Eureka. Another country visitor there, Flynn Hill. Just over 16:20 on the dot. Jacob Savory Ryan there did a lot of work by himself in the middle phases, and he's going to go with a nice subs. Oh, it's going to be right on 16:30 in fact. Askar next. Smashing through on the inside there, Wes Hay. Paul Luttrell of Tasmania. Little John. Cameron Sace. Hong. Maury. McIntyre. Oh, good to see the fist pump in the Melbourne University crew here getting very excited. McDonald. And rounding out that Melbourne University runners on theme, that's Jack Mitchell. It'll be a tick over 17:12. And that are your 25 finishes in the men's D 5,000 metres events 2 here at the Victorian 5,000 metre championships presented by On.